Welcome back, and after a long hiatus, we are back for some more Around the Acorn Sports. It is the best time of the year for sports, in my opinion. I think these gentlemen here will agree. I'm joined here today by Colin, Ben, and Justin. We're ready to get into some sports takes. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to start off first. Of course, March Madness is going on. Everyone knows. Certainly the event of the month, certainly the event of the season. We're just going to start it off with this. Obviously, as we know, there haven't been too many upsets, too many surprises. What would you say is the biggest surprise of the whole tournament, and who's your pick for champion at the moment? Colin, I'll start with you.
Biggest surprise for sure would be McNeese. I did not expect McNeese to beat Clemson, to be honest with you, but Clemson was definitely a big pick to make a run, maybe even a Final Four. And McNeese kind of shut that down. They were gritty. I got to go to the game, actually, so I got to see them in person, and they were actually really much better than I expected. And for the champion pick, I'm going to go with Duke Blue Devils, with the fact that they have played so well and dominated about every single team they've played. And I can't really see many people stopping them.
All right, Ben, what do you think?
So for my championship pick, I have Florida beating Duke in the championship. I think Walter Clayton is just going to turn it on. I think Cooper Flagg's going to have a bit of a stinker in the champ. But my biggest surprise in all of March has been there hasn't been that many upsets, and honestly, I love it. I think there's a chance we get all 4 1 seeds for the first time since 2008, which is last time it was in San Antonio. So I think that is a huge win. And I think that'd be a great Final Four, in my opinion.
So you'd say the surprise of the tournament itself is the lack of surprises?
I would say so, yes.
All right, that's great. Justin, how about you?
I agree that the surprise is definitely the lack of madness that we've seen so far in March. But I disagree with Ben. I personally love the idea of upsets. And this year there's only been 7 higher seeds that have won games. And personally, I believe in Houston this year as my pick for the championship. I think that their defense is going to make teams really uncomfortable, and they've shown it so far. And although their offense has been somewhat questionable, I believe that they'll be able to pull it out.
All right. Any final takes on that one?
I'm going to disagree with Ben on the Florida pick. I don't even think they'll make the Final Four.
Whoa.
I think Texas Tech is going to beat them.
Okay.
I think Texas Tech has a very, very good team. JT Toppin is a very good basketball player, and Elijah Hawkins has been really good. And I think that team has the talent to get to the Final Four.
I'm not going to lie, I have a bracket with Texas Tech in the championship, but I just think Walter Clayton and that overall Florida offense is just too powerful for anyone. I mean, Duke's really, really good defensively. As much as I hate to say it as a UNC fan, that Duke could win, but I honestly think that Florida's offense can be too overpowering. I think Florida's just really, really athletic enough and overpower Duke.
Well, I think if UConn could guard them, anybody could. Because UConn had probably one of the worst defenses in the tournament. They were ranked probably around 100 on the Ken Pom. And if they were able to stop Florida until the end of the game, I think Maryland, Texas Tech can both give them a run for their money.
Yeah.
And then with the Houston take, I think Houston has one of the best defenses in the country, but I think there's a chance a team takes them far enough. I think they'll make the Final Four, but playing a team like Duke will probably be too much for them.
I can definitely see that, and I do agree that I think the way Maryland's playing right now, they could have a chance at Florida in the next round.
Yeah.
All right, well, I am partial to the Gators, being a Gators fan, of course. Not to mention, I'm a little split on that argument about upsets but I'm going to give this point to Ben for the Gators pick. I just think it's the most logistical here. I mean, come on. They're a powerhouse. I mean, no one's been able to beat them.
I like
well,
it.
only a couple teams, but still.
SEC champs.
We're going to keep it in March Madness here. This time we're switching over to the women's side. As you guys probably know, and as you hopefully know, Juju Watkins tore her ACL this week. Very unfortunate. How does that change the landscape of this current March Madness? And honestly, how does it affect, who's going to win? Any one of you, go ahead.
I can go ahead and start. I think it opens it up a lot, personally. Juju Watkins is arguably probably the best player in college basketball for the women's side. I think UConn should probably be the favorite now, along with South Carolina. I think they would both be Final Four teams. But honestly, in terms of USC, I think that's a huge – I mean, obviously the scoring, she's averaging close to 23,
24 a game.
24 a game. And she is such a factor that everyone has to have their eyes on her especially. And so her teammates have to get so many open looks because of that. Because you normally have to double her with her potential and her talent. So I think all of her teammates are going to have to create a lot more shots on their own, which I think is going to really, really affect them. And I don't think they're going to make it very far.
So you'd say probably wouldn't give them another game after this?
They might win one more, but I highly doubt it past that.
Yeah, we'll see. Colin?
I'd say they probably will beat Kansas State. I think it will be a better game than it would have been if Juju was playing. But I think UConn with Paige Beckers is probably going to be too much for them to handle without their star player.
Yeah.
Justin?
When you lose someone like Juju, who's the primary ball handler on a team like that, it throws off an offense so much to the point where, like Ben said, everybody else is going to have to create shots on their own, and they haven't had to do that in a long time. So I wouldn't even be shocked if they get upset by Kansas State in this round.
That's fair. That's a pretty bold take. But I'm going to go ahead and give this one to Colin. He gave me a definite answer about UConn winning this. I do agree. Big Paige Beckers fan, and I think that, I think UConn has what it takes. So I'll give the point to you. Next, we're going to switch from collegiate to professional. NBA. NBA is coming to a close in the regular season. It's April. The playoff race is ramping up. So who are we taking here?
Sure. So for me, I see those dominant teams at the top with the Thunder and the Cavs. However, they're young. The Cavs always make the playoffs. They always choke. And now they've finally gotten so good that they're the 1 seed with only 14 losses this year. However, I think the Celtics will take the East again because they have beaten the Cavs more than I think they've beaten them. And then in the West is so good that it's hard to pick. But Jokic is Jokic. So I think this is the year where we finally see the matchup between the Celtics and the Nuggets in the finals.
See, I have two completely different teams. So, like you said about the Cavs, I think the Cavs will make it to the East. But I have a bit of an upset for the West. I think the Warriors are going to make it and win. So, I know that's a bit crazy, but Jimmy is literally the exact piece that they needed. They're 16-5 since the Jimmy trade. Curry isn't even playing great right now, but if he gets into playoff mode along with Jimmy playoff mode, those are probably two of the best players in the league in the playoffs. And then Kuminga just came back. Draymond's being Draymond. Pods is playing very, very well. I think that is a very sneaky pick to win the chip.
So you're going Cavs-Warriors finals matchup.
Cavs-Warriors finals, but without LeBron. And
that is
older Curry, but Jimmy Butler is probably going to win Finals MVP. There.
That's a bold take. I will not lie.
This is not 2016.
No, it is not. Justin?
I go back, and I like the Celtics pick. I think the East is still weak, and I feel like the Celtics can pull that out again. But I have the Thunder coming out of the West. I love their young talent and the way that they play as a group and how they connect as a group on and off the court. And as a young team, I feel like they'll bring energy throughout the whole playoffs. After a long season, I feel like they'll still be able to carry through. And I have them winning, especially because of the two bigs being Chad and Hartenstein. Nobody's been able to stop that duo.
Yeah, of course. I have to give this one to Justin here. I like the pick, and I think it is realistic for the Thunder to come out of the West. They've been unstoppable. That team chemistry is definitely something you want a young team like that. It's impressive that they've been doing what they're doing. And after a disappointment of a season, I guess you could call it last year, I think they bounced back. And I do like the Celtics pick. So you get the point for that one. We're going to keep it in the NBA. We're going to shift this one instead to awards. So as everyone knows, big heated talk right now, top 3 in the MVP ladder. You got Jokic, this is in no order, of course, Jokic, Shea, and Giannis, or someone else in your opinion. But who's going to win it?
See, I'll go ahead and take it because I have someone completely different. I think Jokic should win it, in my opinion, but voter fatigue is going to be a big thing for this. And SGA, too many free throws. I don't think he deserves it. And then Giannis, his team is very underperforming this year. I think they're the 5 in the East. So I have the leader on the 1 seed in the East. I have Donovan Mitchell. He's averaging 25, 5, and 6 on 50% shooting right now. He's playing extremely well, and I really like. Most people think it's the best player in the league. It's the most valuable, and I think the Cavs would not be where they are right now if Donovan Mitchell was not there. And yes, obviously you can say that for Jokic clearly, but I think voter fatigue is a big thing in the NBA. That's why a couple people haven't gone back-to-back when I think they should have. But I honestly think Donovan Mitchell could be a very sneaky pick for it.
And to build off your point, where would the Thunder be without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Still
I
pretty
don't
high.
care if he takes however many free throws he takes a game.
9.7.
He's an amazing player who gets to the rack. I mean, he forces the fouls. He's
Flop.
leading this team. They're like 60-12 right now. I mean, who's more valuable than him right now?
You said it last round. You said Jokic is Jokic. He's having a better season than his past MVP seasons, averaging a 30-point triple-double with 13 rebounds, 10 assists, 30 points a game, and he's shooting over 3 free throws less per game as well. And as much as voter fatigue may get to him, he is the most deserving.
Anything else? Any closing remarks? to
I
that?
think it can go either way, but
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, voter fatigue will probably give it to SGA.
Okay. Well, I'm actually going to give this one to Justin right here. As we know, obviously, voter fatigue does exist, but I mean, the man has a chance to what? It's 3-peat, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
With a
you never know.
one-year gap in
The
between.
last guy to do it was Larry Bird. That was way back, But I think I'd take Jokic in this personally. I mean, when you go most valuable, he's the most valuable. So I'm going to go ahead and give that point to Justin. So we're going to shift sports. Still professional. The MLB season, opening day, as we know. The pennant this year, after a lot of offseason moves and a lot of signings, a lot of trades, the landscape is completely shaken up at this point. I mean, it's anybody's game. So give me your picks for the pennant, and then obviously give me some of your takes for awards this season. I'll start with you, Colin.
So I think for this season, I think the Dodgers won't be as good as people expect. I know they have a super talented roster,
Still win the champ.
but they always fall short. Besides last year, that was probably the first year I've seen that team actually fully go where they should be. And I think for the AL pennant, I think it's going to be a toss-up between, I think the Red Sox for sure have a chance to get there with the team they built. I think the Yankees definitely could do it again. If the Orioles can get over the hump that they've been trying to get over with the young talent, I think they definitely can. And then for the NL pennant, it will most likely be the Dodgers, but I can see sneaky teams like the Diamondbacks. They just built their pitching staff. The Phillies, any of those teams could definitely make it.
I have the Dodgers winning it all. I have the Baltimore. There we go. Winning the AL pennant. I think the NL East, Braves, Mets, Phillies, all three make the playoffs. I think Braves win the NL East. I think the Mets underperformed this year, even with Soto. He's amazing, but 764 million or whatever it was, 750.
765 for 15
Yeah,
years.
I just don't think he's worth that, in my opinion. He couldn't win on the Yankees, and I just don't think he's good enough to lead the Mets, in my opinion. He's very good, but I just don't know overall. And then for awards, I have Skeens winning AL Cy Young, and I have the Pirates making the playoffs as he carries them.
That's bold.
Yeah.
Bold. Justin, what do you think?
One, getting the Pirates all the way to the playoffs with Skeens is definitely a stretch. But going back, the champion, I have the Dodgers winning again. And I think they get better with Shohei coming back pitching. If he's able to stay consistent, I think that's a boost for them. And then one of the other takes I have, the AL East, I have all 5 teams being above 500. I think that is the best East that it's been in a while with the Yankees. Even losing Soto, I think they'll be able to survive. And I also have Gunnar winning the AL MVP.
Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm going to go ahead and give this one to Ben. I like the Dodgers pick. I mean, they only got better. Let's be real here. They didn't, They only got better, and I like the Pirates pick.
Yeah.
We're also going to keep this one in the MLB. So we see the A's playing in Sacramento right now for a few years until they move to Vegas inevitably. But while we're on this topic of expansion or even relocation of teams, who should be next? What city should get a franchise? What team should be moved? If so, where should they be moved? Justin, I'll start with you.
I love the idea of having a team in Montreal. The team with the Blue Jays already up in Canada, they have a strong enough fan base so far. It's not one of the best in the MLB, but it's still up there. And Montreal already has a huge fan base in hockey, and they are extremely passionate. I believe that they'll be able to have a really strong fan base if they end up having an expansion or a relocation to Montreal.
Ben?
I have it either being Vancouver or Nashville. I think Nashville would be a really good team because you don't really have that many teams in that little section. There's no team in North Carolina, and none in Virginia, none in Kentucky or Tennessee. So I think that could be a really good one. But Vancouver also, Canada. Canada normally has very, very good fan bases, Blue Jays especially. But I think that team could work also because that's more of a straight West team that I think could also really work.
Of course, Colin?
For me, I have Nashville as well. I've seen their fan base in hockey. It's amazing. They come to games. It's like crazy. The home atmosphere there is unbelievable, and I think they do the same in baseball. I also think Orlando could have a chance at a baseball team. I read about them kind of like promoting for one to happen, and you have the attraction of Disney to get fans out there to come watch. And I mean, who wouldn't want to go to Orlando to watch a game?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as someone who lives near Orlando, I would love the possibility of a baseball team there. I'm going to go ahead and give everyone a point here. This is mostly a subjective question. But I do like all those ideas. I love the Nashville idea. I think it's a great idea because they have a great fan base in Tennessee, of course, with college baseball already, and I could definitely see that going over well. We're going to take a little break here as we shift to CAA sports. We'll be right back. Cool. Welcome back to another round of Around the Acorn. This time, as we just talked about National, we're going to go over to the CAA. We're going to talk about Elon sports and, of course, just CAA sports in general. First question, we're going to start it off with softball. They've been on a roll lately, doing great. They're 8-1 in conference play so far. They're tied with Campbell for the first seed, and Delaware is just behind them at 7-2. So who's going to take it this year? And then a follow-up question for the Phoenix. Who do you guys think has been their difference maker? I'll start it off with you, Justin.
For me, I believe in Elon this year. I think their momentum that they're carrying right now has been great through conference play, and even pre-conference, out of conference, they played Ohio State to a 1-run loss. Ohio State's now ranked top 25. That's a really close game that they played, and I think they'll be able to carry their momentum through.
I have Campbell and Delaware with a regular season tie, and Elon just behind them. But then I have Elon winning the CAA tournament.
Okay.
So I think Chloe Hassopoulos has easily been one of their best players. Her fielding percentage is .98 to 98 percentile. Really, really solid. And she has a 32% average for hitting. So really overall great all-around season for them.
I think after the Gabby Shaw walk-off the other night, the team's momentum, they're just going to keep moving forward. And with a player like Caitlin Wells, who's leading the way with hitting around about 400 with 8 home runs and 29 RBIs. I think this team can definitely win it this year. And then to continue on, Coach Bo has been energetic, well-spoken, and kind of brings leadership to the team. And as you can see, it's really helping out for them.
So, Justin, I do want to get the player from you.
Yeah, for me, the pitching out of McKenna McCard so far has been spectacular with an ERA of 2.2 through 51 innings, which is really, really good. And opponents are only hitting 222 against her, so she's shutting down opponents, and that has been huge for their defensive aspect.
Of course. And I'm going to go ahead and give this one to Justin. I love the Elon belief, and not to mention I'm a huge McKenna McCard fan, so that's always great. We're going to keep it in the diamond, go over to Elon baseball. Elon baseball, bit off to a rocky start, being just 9-15 so far, and they've lost their last 2. What needs to be done to turn the season around, kind of shift the momentum back in their favor? I'll start over here with Colin.
Yeah, I think the pitching definitely needs to step up. Defensively, we've been letting up a lot of runs. It's just a big struggle. At the Wake Forest game the other day, it was like they had 10 hits, a ton of runs, and I think if we want to beat big teams like that, we definitely need to be better defensively, and it starts with the pitching. But also hitting-wise, I'd say we need to step it up there as well.
I don't want to be too negative, so I'm just going to call this constructive criticism. I think they need to make the pitchers run. The pitchers have not been great. Average of 6.125 runs per game, getting outscored by 30 runs over our 24 games. Not good. But honestly, there's a lot of inexperienced guys on this pitching staff, so I feel like the more games you get them in, I think you need to use that bullpen a bit more. I feel like they're kind of relying on their more experienced guys. If you let the young guys get in, even if it's like top of the fifth to like top of the sixth, if you let those guys get more experience, you're going to get a lot better over time. And I feel like it's just first couple games jitters, early season jitters. I think they'll level it out a bit, hopefully make a bit of a run, but just I want to see the guys get more experience. I think that'll help a lot.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that so far the explosive hitters have been carrying, and that's like we've been having to win games like putting up like 8, 9, 10 runs, like double-digit runs to win games. And I think one of the problems with the pitching is it's kind of a domino effect. Like you get a starter that's only going like 2 1/3, and then you have to bring someone else in, and then you're going through like 3 or 4 pitchers in a game. Like it just ruins the whole game plan for a series, and it makes it really difficult for Elon to have success in series.
Yeah, they only have one pitcher right now who is above 500 in win-loss right now. All their other guys are struggling, which means the bullpen's having to come in early. And like Justin's saying, that can really throw off your momentum for your game plan especially.
Yeah, I'm going to give that point to Ben right there. I think it's true. I mean, pitching in their respect, in their regard, it's definitely been one of the biggest issues for the team this year. Something definitely needs to be done within that bullpen, whether it be, condition, discipline, something needs to happen. I think I'll give you the point on that one. So we're going to, as you know, it's March. Basketball's coming to a close. Elon, of course, didn't make March Madness. They didn't make NIT. They didn't make the Crown,
CBI.
But on a bit of a sour note here, for the Phoenix, 7 reported players have entered the transfer portal. The Simpkin twins, Andrew King, Nick Dorn, Kendall Campbell, DeAndre Smart, and Matthew Van Komen all have entered the transfer portal. So that's definitely big losses for the Phoenix, of course. Yeah. That's almost, that actually is their starting 5. And of course, Sam Sherry has graduated, so he's not going to be back for the team. What do they need to do? How do they take this and spin it to a positive, turn it around?
See, I think this is exactly the reset that we needed after blowing a 21-point lead to Army and the CBI first round. Simpkins twins, obviously, Dorn's been injured. Simpkins twins have been great all year. TK getting injured last couple games. But honestly, I think this is like the factory reset. You go in. I really like Trey O'Neal, as long as he could start, but I think he will get good minutes. He didn't see the floor like a lot at all this year, a bit down the stretch when TK got hurt. But I think this would be a lot better for the team if you can get some more shooters, get a good amount of size. I really like Campbell. I think he's probably one of their biggest losses. Obviously, the Simpkins twins can put up points and stuff, but Campbell's rebounding I think he should have started over Van Komen. Obviously, Van Komen has 7 inches on him or something. I don't know. I think Campbell's 6'9", 6'10". But I think Campbell played with a lot more effort, grit. I think it's really the big loss. He was a great rebounder. I loved him. He's probably one of my favorite players on the team. Yeah. So,
Justin?
Again, similar to baseball, we were winning games by putting up points. We averaged around 75 points per game, and losing TK, TJ, Nick, and even Sam graduating, that combined to 60 points a game. That is almost all of our points, and the offense is going to be the big need that we need in the offseason transfer portal. As many guys as we can get in to fill those gaps is really what we're looking for.
Yeah, and to build off of that, definitely losing the Simpkins twins and Dorn are definitely big, huge losses. As we saw when they were injured at the end of the year, our offense kind of died down without them. Not as many threats and kind of teams being able to defend us better with just TK kind of trying to lead the offense and scoring. And like Justin said, losing all those points per game scores, we're really going to need to find some guys in the portal who can show up and go out there and score.
Yeah, so do you guys think they should tap into the portal, really look for recruits? What do you guys think?
I mean, they have, 0 recruits right now?
At the moment, yes.
So, I mean, I think if you're looking for recruits, it's going to be not super. I mean, obviously they'll be talented, but I don't think it's the stars that you need to build your team, especially if they're going to be incoming freshmen. So I think definitely hitting the transfer portal, trying to find some guys like a Nick Dorn, like a TK. You need guys that can create on their own, but also you need the main centerpiece, like what you had with TK or with Sam Sherry. Because Sam Sherry being replaced, you had a very tall starting 5 with Van Komen, Sherry, and then the Simpkins twins around 6'4", 6'5", and then Dorn at 6'6". So you really need size there, and then you also really need to get those shooters and guys to create their own shots.
Yeah.
I think in the transfer portal, it's going to be pretty difficult to get guys to come in after seeing 7 guys transfer out, 1 graduate. It's going to be a lot more attractive for guys that you're recruiting that are incoming freshmen that know they probably have 4 more years with a team that they're going to have much more control over because there's a lot less experience on the team. And someone like Isaac Harrell, even in the 21-point blow up at the end of the season, he was 6 for 7 from 3 with, I believe it was 23 points. That's a good sign that we can carry on to the next season, and he'll probably have to pick up a lot of those points.
I think definitely hitting the portal is going to be the way to go. I think they kind of have to find that hidden guy that not a lot of teams are really looking at and show that you're interested in them, that you want them here, even with the loss of all those guys, and say, we want you to be our guy for this season.
I'm going to go ahead and give that one to Justin. I like the idea of keeping it in the house, developing players, developing the freshmen, looking forward with that. So yeah, we're going to move from a sour note more to a high note for women's basketball as they ended the season exactly at 500 for both CAA play and just regular season. They were 500 on the year. And then obviously the disappointing loss in the CAA tournament to Towson. So what do you guys think? Was this season a success? What would you call it?
I can start. I think beating that #1 team in NCAA was a huge win and kind of helps the program. But I think they really wanted to see themselves go a little farther than the NCAA tournament. I think next year they'll definitely set their goals on getting past that first round as far as they possibly can.
Yeah, I definitely think if anything, it's very promising for the future. Obviously a bit disappointing losing to Townsend, but Jada Angel is freshman of the year for CAA. I think she has really good potential as long as she doesn't hit the portal. I think she will be a great player for all years to come, for the next 3 years at least, if she does not transfer. But I think there's a lot of potential moving forward for this team.
So would you call this season a bit of a mixed feelings, but it's good potential. It's
ended
it's
on a sour note, but you have a lot of potential that you have to be very excited for going forward.
Justin?
I agree. I think you can overlook, as hard as it is, that sour note to end the season, but jumping from 7-11 and 11-21 overall in the 2023-2024 season to 500 is a big step for them, and I feel like looking forward, that growth is something that you have to take into account, and the little successes, it may not be a championship now, it may not be a championship next year, but being able to build on that over time is something that they need to they can't take for granted.
Of course. I'm going to give this one to Ben. I agree that it's definitely something that you want to see out of a team. You gain potential, you improve your record, as Justin said, you get a little better, and of course you have your young stars that performed this season, obviously Jada Angel, Raven Preston, players who went out and played their best that they could this season. We're going to move back to the field. Women's lacrosse this year for Elon. They're 5-4 on the season, but 2-0 in conference play, which is great to start. Do you guys think they could make a case to take the CAA this year?
I think they can. Obviously, had a very rough out-of-conference play schedule, very, very difficult. Played a couple close games, but 3-4 doesn't, obviously, if you're a competitor, you want to go into every single game winning. So obviously they need a good momentum boost. I like the 2-0 start in conference play. That can get you started. If you can win a couple more games string together, get a really good momentum boost, you can probably be one of the hottest teams in the CAA for sure.
I'd say they definitely have a chance of winning. I think their defense needs to step it up a little bit. They've let up more goals against than they have actually scored. But you see with a Notre Dame team that's ranked that high, if you're only letting up 8 goals against them, I think they definitely have a chance of fixing the defense and stopping other teams.
Yeah, I agree. I think you can make a case for them to win the CAA. It is still early in the season, and their 2 in-conference wins have not come against top teams in the conference. So it is still early to tell whether they'll have a chance, but someone like Drexel in the conference is looking really, really dangerous on a 7-game win streak at this moment. So it'll be tough to take them down.
So would you say it's kind of a toss-up between the two?
I agree, yeah.
But if you had to pick?
I think I'd go with Elon.
Go with Elon, that's great. Yeah, I'm going to give this one to you then. I like that mentioning, of course, the competitive CAA conference there is. And of course, it is a bit too early to tell. 2 games under their belt CAA play with the conference, with the teams they played not being at the top of their conference. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, whose side are you on? That didn't go very well.
I like the stare down.
Yeah.
That's good.